session is dedicated to the new laureates of the 2020 edition of the UNESCO International Literacy Prizes, and to present 6 outstanding literacy programs from Côte d'Ivoire, Egypt, Guatemala, India, Mexico, and South Africa, and to reflect on main factors that enable inclusive distance and digital learning literacy programs.
Ladies and gentlemen, today we are more aware than ever of how precious yet fragile literacy really is. This is why, at the outset of the pandemic, UNESCO launched a Global Education Coalition. With more than 100 partners, we've been able to take action in 180 countries to provide learning solutions via radio, television, and the internet. And this is why I would like to thank very much today our laureates from South Africa, Côte d'Ivoire, Egypt, Guatemala, India, and Mexico for carrying out project during this critical time. You have used creativity and innovation to reach as many people as possible. You have literally changed the lives of thousands of children, young people, women, and marginalized adults. And for all this, in the name of UNESCO, I would like to thank you.
The challenge for this edition, as already announced yesterday, focused on inclusive distance and digital literacy learning. You will agree with me, I'm sure, that the theme of today could not be more timely. Each of today's 6 prize winners has a solid track in the field. I would say they are pioneers in this field. Whether NGOs, no-profits, universities, or national institutes, they are successfully reaching some of the most marginalized learners in the world: indigenous people, children with disabilities, workers on markets and construction sites, and so on. They use, I would say, an innovative, interesting mix of technologies and adapt contents to need, with sensibility to each learner and context. Finally, the Building and Growing program of the Mexican no-profit organization Construyendo y Creciendo, providing people with low or no literacy skills, especially construction workers and their communities, a second chance, so to say, to obtain an officially recognized and very comprehensive education of good quality. Well, congratulations still to all these 3 winners of the Confucius Prize as well.
I'm very happy to see that the program Building and Growing in Mexico, the Anshan University experience in organizing online literacy classes for rural areas in Egypt, and the functional literacy for traders in Abidjan through the use of RCT in Ivory Coast win the 2021 edition of the UNESCO-Confucius Prize for Literacy.
We have to cross the Atlantics now, and I'm very pleased to introduce our 3rd laureate, President Executive of Construyendo y Creciendo, Ms. Roxana Fabriz Lopez Pina. Presidente, buenos días.
John Bestman, chair of the jury, and the other 5 winners of the Literacy Prize 2021. Today is a special and important day. The significance of education and the right to literacy occupy a place at the center of the world agenda. More than 700 million adults and young people in the world lack the basic skills to read and write. And pandemic effects on education and lack will be devastating if we do not work to avoid it. That is why I'm proud to participate in this session that celebrates Literacy Day and the delivery of the Confucius and King Sejong Awards. and to be the voice of a group that is not very visible in our society, despite being an essential part of building a better world. I am talking about construction workers, who build the spaces in which we live, work, and move, and who have had few development opportunities in Mexico. Although the literacy rate in our country has dropped significantly in the recent decades, standing at 4.7%, among construction workers, the rate is close to 10%. Thanks to the work of Construyendo y Creciendo, this journeyman can have greater opportunities for development through education. 15 years ago, Pepe Chabot founded Construyendo y Creciendo when working on a construction site, and identified that many of his fellow Masons did not know how to read and write, and therefore were subject to abuse and harassment. Thus, it began the path to consolidate an organization that can now offer education to more than 27,000 laborers in dozens of classrooms installed within construction sites. Through academic and personal development, as well as work-related training, our program tackles economic, social, and psychological barriers to education and provide crucial digital skills. An innovative model that in the face of the pandemic has had to reinvent itself because of the suspension of face-to-face activities, which seemed essential to offer education to vulnerable groups. As a response, we immediately developed a distant education model, which, recognizing the limitation for our students and their limited access to technology, took advantage of their main resource, the desire to learn. This model brought advantages, such as 24-hour educational services. For people who had no access to the internet and illiterate adults, Construyendo y Creciendo opted to distribute educational material in physical form and maintain communication with them by telephone or through a family member. Today, distant education is already a fixed model in our program, which is added to the face-to-face modality. I want to give a great recognition to all of our allies, builders, donors, the National Institute for Adult Education, INEA, that certifies our programs, and especially the team in Construyendo y Creciendo, more than 60 professionals from all fields, including 30 educational advisors led by Cecilia Galicia. Y un reconocimiento especial a nuestros estudiantes.
And an acknowledgement to our students, some of whom are with us today for this personal and the development that will turn them into an agent of change.
From UNESCO, with the commitment to continue working to bring educational opportunities to those who do not have access to them, with the conviction that education is the most powerful weapon to change the world, and with the clarity that aligned with the Sustainable Development Goals, we will promote equity, access to quality education, economic development, and the reduction of disparities, so that, in effect, no one is left behind. Thank you.
Muchas gracias, Presidente, and felicidades.
Thank you very much, President, and congratulations.